Welcome to the European Association for Higher Education Advancement's YouTube and podcast channel. You ever get that feeling? Like you're stuck in a job that just doesn't get you? You know? Like spinning your wheels?
Tell me about it.
Well, today we are diving into this article.
Okay.
It's called How to Know If a Company Will Invest in Your Future.
Interesting.
And it's actually from the European Association for Higher Education Advancement, EE on EA.
Ah, EIA.
So they're all about quality in higher education.
Right. Making sure institutions are really delivering, on their promises. So
Exactly.
when EAA talks about what makes a company great for employees, I think it's worth listening to.
Absolutely. This is not just like some random opinion piece.
Right.
This is rooted in some serious research and experience.
For sure.
And basically, we're going to break down their 5 key signs of a company that really walks the walk
Okay.
when it comes to investing in you in your career.
I like that. Investing in you. That's interesting because it's kind of going beyond just human capital, right?
Right.
It's more like they're betting on your success,
Exactly.
your growth too. That's pretty cool.
I mean, who wouldn't want an employer in their corner like that?
Yeah, for real.
So the first sign that they highlight is all about goal setting.
Okay.
But it's not just like that typical set SMART goals and forget about them kind of thing.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
So what is it then?
So they really emphasize regularly setting performance goals,
Okay.
objectives, and why this is so beneficial for the employee and the employer.
I see. So how does that actually work?
Think of it like this. You're on a road trip.
Okay.
You need a map to get to your destination.
Of course. You'll be lost without it.
Right. So the map is your goals.
Okay. I get it.
Without a clear sense of where you're going,
Right.
you could end up somewhere you didn't even intend to be.
Totally.
But when you have those well-defined goals,
Yeah,
you know where you're headed and you can track your progress.
that makes sense.
It gives you purpose.
Motivation.
Definitely. And the employer also benefits because everyone's moving in the same direction,
Right.
working towards a shared vision.
Makes a lot of sense.
But the article actually goes a little bit deeper.
Oh.
It even dives into some specific frameworks
Frameworks for what?
for setting those effective goals.
Huh. Like what? What kind of frameworks?
One that really stood out to me is called OKRs, Objectives and Key Results.
OKRs.
And it's actually used by companies like Google,
Oh, wow.
Intel,
Huh.
because it really emphasizes transparency and alignment.
Okay.
So basically, you set these ambitious objectives,
Yeah.
and then you define measurable key results
Okay.
that demonstrate your progress towards those objectives.
I see. So it's not enough to just have a goal. You got to break it down.
Right.
Make those actionable steps.
Exactly.
And everybody can understand.
Everyone can see.
I got it. So what I'm hearing is it really encourages collaboration, accountability too.
Yes.
Everyone knows what they're working toward
Exactly.
and how all the individual pieces fit into the bigger picture.
Which is so much better than feeling lost
Oh, for sure.
and unsure of what's expected of you,
Yeah. Been there.
which I think a lot of people experience in their jobs, unfortunately.
It happens.
Yeah. So that's why this first sign is so crucial.
Right.
A company that really invests in you is going to make sure you have that clear roadmap,
Roadmap. Okay.
not just leave you wandering in the wilderness.
Love that. Nobody wants to be lost.
Okay, so we've talked about goals, those clear goals.
Right.
But what about knowing where you want to go
Yeah.
beyond just the next project or performance review?
Ah, I see. So that's where that second sign comes in.
Okay.
The company that really invests in you, they're not just going to help you set goals. They're going to really understand and promote your, aspirations.
So it's not just about hitting those targets.
Nope.
It's figuring out what you really want to achieve.
Yes. In your career. Long term.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's about those deeper conversations.
Oh.
About your passions.
Yeah.
What you're motivated by. What kind of impact you want to make on the world.
Okay.
And it's not just talking about it.
Yeah.
It's also about having a manager who actually, supports you
Oh, wow.
and pursuing those big aspirations.
So they're not just nodding along.
No.
They're actually helping you figure out those steps.
Exactly. To get where you want to go.
That sounds amazing.
It is. They might suggest certain projects.
Okay.
Connect you with a mentor, maybe, or even encourage you to look for training opportunities
Wow.
outside the company even, because they know ultimately when you grow, they grow.
It's like a win-win.
Exactly. Total win-win.
You get that support. You thrive. And then they get a more engaged and happy employee.
100%. And you know what the article really emphasizes?
What's that?
Those regular check-ins with your manager. Not just the once a year kind of thing.
The dreaded performance review.
Yeah. It's about having like that ongoing dialogue about your progress, your challenges, how you can work together,
So it's more like a partnership.
Yeah.
Yes. Than like a boss-employee relationship.
That's a great way to put it. And so this is something that you could actually look for in a potential employer.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, do they have that culture of open communication, feedback?
Yeah. Do they have mentorship programs?
Yeah.
Career development resources?
Okay.
Like, these are all signs that they're really serious about investing in their people.
This is making me think about some of my past experiences. I've definitely had jobs where it's like my aspirations were totally ignored.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was just a cog in a machine.
I've been there. It's awful.
It's so demotivating.
Yeah. But you know what? What's that?
There are companies out there that get it.
Okay.
They understand that investing in you, not just the right thing to do, it's also good business.
That makes sense.
It does.
Happy employees are going to be more productive. Innovative.
Right.
Okay, so we've covered goals. We've covered like finding an employer that really supports your aspirations.
Yeah.
What is that next sign?
So this one is all about continuous learning.
Okay.
Development, too. The article actually calls it ongoing learning opportunities. And it's a biggie.
I feel like that's something that, a lot of companies will talk about,
Yeah, they do.
but don't always deliver on.
Yeah.
So how do we know
That's a good question.
if they're actually walking the walk?
Well, here's where those practical questions come in from the article.
Okay.
It's almost like a checklist,
Okay.
to kind of evaluate a company's commitment
Okay.
to your growth. And they suggest asking, does the company, offer tuition reimbursement? Do they support, going to conferences, workshops?
So it's about going beyond just like the basic training you get
Exactly, when you first start.
when you start a new job.
Right. Seeing if they encourage you to, constantly learn,
Okay.
expand your knowledge. They even ask, like, what's their approach to training overall?
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, do they see it as an investment or an expense?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. Do they have mentorship? Cross-training?
Those are all great questions to ask. I'm also kind of curious about like how a company responds if you express interest
Yeah.
in learning something new. Are they supportive? Do they help you find those resources?
That is such a good point. A company that's truly invested,
Yeah.
they won't just provide learning opportunities.
That
They're going to be really open to your own initiative, your curiosity.
reminds me of I was working at, well, I won't name names,
Okay.
but they had this professional development budget,
Mm-hmm.
which sounded great.
On paper.
Yes, on paper.
Yeah.
But then when I actually tried to use it, I wanted to take a course
Yeah.
that was really relevant, I thought, to my role. And they basically pushed back.
Really?
They said it wasn't a high priority.
I've been there too. So frustrating.
Ugh, it's like, come on.
Yeah. When companies say one thing and then do another, what's the message really?
Right.
Clearly, they're not invested in your growth.
Yeah, it made me question my future there.
For sure.
So how do we find those companies that really do walk the walk?
Okay.
When it comes to this,
Yeah.
to learning and development, what should we be looking for?
One thing I always look at is their track record.
Okay.
Have they actually promoted people from within?
Oh, that's a good point.
Do they have like a culture of continuous learning
Okay.
where people are always, encouraged to share their knowledge?
So it's about looking for evidence.
Yes.
That they're not just talking the talk.
100%. They're putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly. But also, it's a two-way street, right?
Yeah.
You also have to be proactive about, your own learning and growth.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, I guess,
I like that.
where your goals kind of align with what the company needs.
Yes.
And both parties are committed
I love that.
to, investing in your future.
It's all about finding that company that sees your potential
Uh-huh.
and wants to help you, not just exploit it.
Okay, so we've covered goals, aspirations,
Well,
learning.
We have.
What's the next thing?
What's next on that checklist? Well, this one might seem kind of obvious.
Okay.
But honestly, it's often overlooked.
What?
Acknowledging your hard work.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about like a pat on the back
Right.
every now and then.
So it's more than just saying like, good job.
It is.
What does that actually look like?
Okay, so it's really about recognizing, rewarding
Uh,
those employee contributions in like tangible ways. So of course, that could include raises, promotions,
Who doesn't love those?
right? But it's
Well-
also like increased responsibility, maybe opportunities to lead, or even just like a sincere thank you from your manager that really calls out like the impact you made.
It's about feeling valued
Yes.
and appreciated.
100%.
Not just another, cog in the machine.
Right.
I've definitely had jobs where I was like, my contributions were just totally taken for granted.
It's the worst.
It's soul crushing.
It is. But when a company really makes that effort to recognize you,
Yeah.
really creates that culture of respect, appreciation too.
Okay.
They're showing you that they value you as a person, not just for what you produce.
And I bet that makes a huge difference.
Huge. In terms of motivation, job satisfaction.
Yeah, absolutely. The article even mentioned like small gestures,
Oh, yeah.
like a little thank you note, or even a gift card. Like those can go a long way.
They really can. It's the thought that counts. Shows that they're paying attention. They care.
And it all ties back to that idea of like partnership
Yes.
that we were talking about.
Partnership. That's the key.
A company that really invests in you.
Yeah.
They're going to recognize your contributions. They're not just going to expect you to like churn out the work without any acknowledgement.
Exactly.
So it's not just about the big things, like
Right.
promotions, bonuses
It's those small everyday things
that show they value you.
as an individual.
This has been so insightful.
It has
So to recap, we've covered goals,
goals.
a company that understands, supports your aspirations,
Yes.
ongoing learning,
Yeah,
and recognizing your hard work.
we have
So what's that final sign?
the final sign that a company's truly invested in you.
It feels like all of this is like building towards something bigger.
It is.
Yeah.
There's definitely an overarching theme here.
Okay.
And the article kind of sums it all up with this idea of like a true partnership
Okay.
between you and your employer.
So it's not just about checking boxes.
No.
It's really about finding that company that like genuinely wants you to succeed.
Yes, exactly. It's a shared investment
Okay.
in your growth, your development, where both parties win,
Right.
The company gets, a more skilled employee, someone who's more engaged.
Uh-huh.
And then you get the support and the resources that
Yeah.
you need to like reach your full potential.
That sounds like the ideal scenario.
It is. It's awesome when you find it.
But how do we know if a company really has that like partnership mindset?
That's the question.
Yeah. Is it something they'll like explicitly say?
Hmm.
Or are there like other things, other cues to look for?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Some companies, they'll straight up use the word partnership,
Uh-huh.
right in their mission statement or whatever, but it's more about watching what they do.
Right. Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. So like, do they actually involve employees in decisions?
Yeah.
Do they offer flexible work arrangements so you can, have a life?
Right. Work-life balance.
Yes. Work-life balance. Do they create opportunities for employees to like share ideas, feedback?
So it's about seeing if they really value employee input.
100%. They're not just like worker bees.
Right. More than just workers.
Yes. It's about feeling like you're part of a team,
Okay.
all working toward a shared goal,
Yeah.
rather than just like following orders.
I like that. Feeling that sense of ownership.
Yeah, totally. And belonging, too.
It can be motivating.
It is super motivating.
This is really making me think about my own career. I've definitely had jobs where like I was just a number,
Yeah,
but I've also been really lucky to work for companies that like really get this.
that's great.
They genuinely invested in my growth.
Yeah.
And it is a huge difference.
It's night and day.
Night and day. Totally.
Maybe you find that kind of place. It doesn't even feel like work,
Yeah.
It's like, it's more like you're on this journey of continuous learning, discovering new things
I like that.
with people who are there to support you and challenge you too.
That's inspiring.
It is.
So for everyone listening out there, maybe you're feeling kind of stuck or unfulfilled.
Uh-huh.
What's your advice? Like, how do we start looking for or building these kinds of partnerships?
I think the first step is just awareness.
Okay.
Now that you know these 5 signs, you can really start looking at your own workplace differently.
Right.
Or, potential employers. And don't be afraid to ask the tough questions in interviews.
Yeah.
To really get a feel for their culture. Are they truly committed to employee development?
Like, do you really support ongoing learning?
Exactly. Or is that just something on the job description?
Yeah, totally.
And don't be afraid to share, what you're looking for, your aspirations, too. If it's the right company, they're going to see that as a good thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
This has been a really eye-opening deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I have a whole new way to think about my career,
Me too.
what I'm looking for in an employer.
I hope our listeners feel empowered
Yeah.
to go out there and find those companies that really get it,
Yeah.
The ones that are truly invested in their success, it's out there. You just got to know what to look for.
So to recap, the 5 signs we've covered today are setting those clear goals, finding a company that understands and promotes your aspirations, offering those ongoing learning opportunities, recognizing your hard work, and ultimately building that true partnership between you and your employer.
Love it. And these aren't just buzzwords, they're
Yeah.
things you can actually see, evaluate, actions, behaviors. And when you find a company that does all those things, it can really make all the difference.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This has been a fantastic deep dive. And I hope you, the listener, feel inspired to go out there and find that workplace that really invests in you. Please don't forget to follow the European Association for Higher Education Advancement on YouTube and social media.